Hello everyone! In this video we will interact with web elements and we will focus on some basic commands like click, send keys, clear or select. To handle this we will be using this web form page which is offered by Selenium. And as you can see on this page we find some web elements which we can use for training. Let's go to Developer Tools and inspect some web elements we are going to click on. This checkbox has this ID myCheck2. Let's use this. And also let's look at this radio button. Let's go to Visual Studio and see how can we use click method to interact with a checkbox and a radio button. On this line we find our checkbox and click on it. And on the following line we check our radio button and click on it. We can emulate also right click or double click. For right click, let's assume we want to right click on this submit button. And for double click, let's assume we want to do this on the first checkbox, which is here. We need to use the actions class and pass the driver. Here we identify the button by using the tag name. And we call the context click, which in Selenium represents the right click. And at the end we have to call the perform method. And that's it. For double click is similar. First we identify the element we want to double click. In this case is checkbox 1. And then we call the double click method. We pass the element as a parameter and call the perform method. Let's look now at send keys. For example, on this web form we have a text input, a password or a text area. The text input has my text ID and the text area has this name my text area. On this line we find the element with ID my text ID and we call the send keys method and pass the text we want to send to this web element. And for text area is similar. We use by name in this sample and then we call the send keys method with the text we want to fill in. And because this is related, we can also call the clear method for this text area and we would expect this to clear all the content from it. On this web form we have this drop down select, and if we expand this we can see it has multiple options, and the select we want to identify is this one, which has the name mySelect. So on this line we find our select element, then we have to create a select element object. In order to use this select element class we have to add one more dependency, so let's do that. Open manage NuGet packages, go to browse tab, and here let's install Selenium support. Now we can switch back to our test class and import the missing dependency. And as we can see we have multiple options. We can select by text, we can select by value or by index. So comparing with this, we have here the text, or we have here the value or the index. It's also important to mention send keys method can be used also to handle file uploader web elements. So if we look at this file input, for example, we can see this is an input and has this name my file. Let's go to Visual Studio and see how can we use this. So on this file we define the file path in a temporary path. Then we write some text in this file, and And afterwards we can find our element, which is the input, and call the send keys method with the file path we just created. And that's it. Let's go now to Text Explorer and give it a run. Here we select the default checkbox. Now we select the default radio. We right click on the submit button. We set the text in the text input. Now in the text area, and we clear this text. Now we go to this drop down and we select the options by text, by value, and by index. And here we select the file input. And that's it. Thank you very much for your time and see you at the next one. Bye.